Welcome back to Pages and Poor Decisions, the podcast where books and wine collide like a plot twist you never saw coming. I'm one of your co-hosts, Samantha.
And I'm Ashley. We're pairing wines with plots and always here for a morally gray character. And maybe a bottle of red or two. Today we're diving into the tempestuous chaos that is Onyx Storm, the third book of the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. And in honor of Violet's best friend, Rhiannon, we have a red blend for you today. Rhiannon. Riri. This is a delicious blend with luscious cherry and fresh berry aromas. The goddess Rhiannon is a figure of power and mystery in Celtic mythology. She represents the contrasting qualities of change and steadfastness. Will Rhiannon's steadfastness help Violet search the continent for allies and a cure for Xaden? I don't know.
Well, a storm is coming, folks. And it's bringing theories, wild predictions, and enough emotional damage to rival our TBR piles. You know what I'm talking about. Seriously, Rebecca Yarros writes like she's trying to break us all, like kill us, just completely devastate us, break us in half. You know what I'm talking about. We'll be unpacking all the clues, Easter eggs, and probably overthinking literally every word in the synopsis. So grab a glass of wine or bottle or two, something dark and brooding like our favorite Shadow Daddy, because that's the vibe. So let's get into it. And just a friendly reminder, folks, that this podcast is not meant for little ears. We do not filter our language and do discuss adult themes. So in basic terms, this is not child friendly.
All right. I should probably pour my wine.
I need you to pour your glass of wine, please.
Got my glass. Got my Rhiannon.
Glass. Great.
Got my BFF.
Got your Rhiannon. It is very lusciously cherry full, and I definitely sense the fresh berries. Do you think this is what Rhiannon smells like?
I love it. Mm-hmm.
It's very tasty.
It's not super sweet, but it does give me the feel like I'm also drinking grape juice, which is kind of what I want when I drink wine, but not all the time. That is delicious. Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. I don't try to drink it too fast.
Very delicious.
I'm gonna go through some theories, you know what I'm saying? All right. Now, let's dive in. Onyx Storm, January 21st. We are going to dive into a little bit of what we think Onyx Storm means. It is the bond with Violet and Taryn and maybe Xaden, because we know that she uses the word onyx to describe each one of their bonds. But I personally think it might be her being the storm and Onyx being Taryn. So those two are just going to be a power couple just taking care of business. Because anytime she talks about her bond in her archives about Taryn, she's in her archives. She's like, oh, here's the golden one that I think is Andarna. Here's the onyx one that I think is Taryn. And the shimmering black one in the corner, or shimmering shadows, is Xaden. So I think it's about Taryn and Violet. And of course it's going to be about Xaden because his eyes. But there's, a lot of speculations that maybe it could be Taryn and Xaden, button heads the whole time. Xaden's eyes are always, mentioned as gold flecked onyx. Is this part of it? Or is the Venom eyes going to take the gold flecked out of it? And then it's just onyx eyes with red rim? And I don't know. Or is it just completely related to Violet and how she is the storm and every storm that has ever been, like she has said in the end of Fourth Wing? But to break it down, I think that it would be Taryn and Violet. Sam, what do you think?
I don't think so. I think that it's going to be the relationship between Violet and Xaden, because we know that in this book, Violet has one goal in mind, and that's to save Xaden. And I think Xaden is going to push Violet away.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be like the Onyx Storm, but that's me.
I didn't think about that, but he doesn't want to be away from her. But I know that he said this is the safest place for you to be with me. So I don't know. That's pretty good. Xaden's dilemma about being Venom.
So at the end of Fourth Wing, at the end of Iron Flame, clearly I need to drink some more is done.
Hey, cheers. You know what? It's good. Why not?
Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
So we end Iron Flame with Xaden being turned Venom. He drew directly from the earth in his attempt at what he thought was saving Violet because of what the general was telling him, and he felt Violet's power waning as she was basically pushing herself to burnout, trying to imbue the Wardstone to get the Wardstone back up at Basgiath. At the end, we know that he's got the red rings around his eyes, which come and go with initiates depending how often they feed. So we've known that in some of these blurbs that we're going to talk about, that it says that the red rings have left his eyes because he's not fed directly from the source. So is he going to give in to that temptation and draw directly from the earth again? Is he going to feed that way? Is he going to be forced to leave Basgiath? Is he going to be pushed out? We don't know. Was that going to put him at greater risk if he leaves? Like, we don't know.
Is he going to be able to go back
We
to
know that
Ryerson House?
Arisha?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be able to go back to Arisha? We don't know.
I don't know.
When Jack was destroying the Wardstone, he sliced Bade's neck open, right, and bleeds out over the Wardstone. But one of the things that it mentions is that Bade had milky white eyes because he was being controlled by Jack. Is this going to happen to Sigale?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And then we had this new excerpt from Rebecca that came out with one of the Onyx Storm teasers, with Jack stating that Xaden is drawn to her silver hair for a reason. So I would be interested to see what the dynamic is there, and we'll go over kind of the blurbs from the back of the book, the Cosmopolitan excerpt that came out, and the most recent excerpt that came out from Rebecca Yarros. So we'll cover all that. But I think the biggest question that we all have, are they going to have venom sex?
If they do not have sex, I'm going to be so pissed. You know what Rebecca's going to do? They're going to be like forbidden or whatever, separated and shit, right? And so we're going to experience someone else's sex. And I don't want that. I want theirs. But you know what? I'll take what I can get.
I've been rereading. I'm on Fourth Wing right now, and we'll jump into Iron Flame just to make sure that I'm like fully right back there for January 20. Those scenes, I forgot like how steamy, and I don't know how I forgot because I've read this book like 6 times, but those scenes, we need some more of that in this book.
Anytime she's like, have it.
Even if it
melts my core, I'm like, just.
Well, yes, let me just spread my legs open on the Tyrandor throne.
Everyone else is around. What's the one we didn't pull up on was they were doing it in his room, and she was like, yeah, like I scream or whatever, and she's like, I think we're gonna need to put wards on your door. He's like, already did. She's like, worse.
Already did.
Because he knew she was like, have at you. Good for you, girl.
Yeah.
Let's go over the official book blurb. I'm going to read it straight from the book. After nearly 18 months at Basgiath War College, Violet Thorngale knows there's no more time for lessons. Fair enough. I mean, why would you go back to college? No more time for uncertainty. Because the battle has truly begun, and with enemies closing in from outside their walls and within their ranks, it's impossible to know who to trust. Now, Violet must journey beyond the failing Orician wards to seek allies from unfamiliar lands to stand with Navarre. The trip will test every bit of her wit, luck, and strength, but she will do anything to save what she loves, her dragons, her family, her home, and him. Even if it means keeping a big secret. Oh, no, a secret so big, it could destroy everything. They need an army, they need power, they need magic, and they need the one thing only Violet can find, the truth. But a storm is coming, and not everyone can survive its wrath. She's going to travel outside of Navarre, and there's also a big secret. And I'm like, what is this big secret if it's not something, it has to be larger than the fact that there are that venin exists, because now half of Navarre know that, and actually everyone else in Port-Emil knows that. So what is this big secret? And they need army, power, and magic. Obviously, she needs allies, and they have power. A lot of them do through their dragons, but the magic, is there more to this than just like the lesser magic and the power they get from their dragons? Is there something else out there? Is there more magic? Is there more magic? I don't know. And the only thing that Violet can find is truth. So to me, that screams second signet is truth sayer. She said it was obvious, and I think we went through it all. I think it's truth sayer. She's the one that can find the truth. And just because she's smart. And one thing we definitely know, people are gonna die. So
I think a lot of people are gonna die. But also, at the end of Iron Flame, is she, because it says nearly 18 months at Basgiath War College. So she's halfway through her second year at this point.
That's correct. That's right.
Yes, I do think she's a truth sayer. I was gonna die on that hill. And I think the post that Rebecca put on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you name it, I think it's all out there, where she was given a gift with a napkin that had Taryn and Darna on it, and it was framed, and it said Violet Sorengale for truth. Truth sayer. And then in her little caption, she's like, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Truth sayer.
I don't think you're wrong. We have all dove into all of the theories that she's like, can you guys not effing get it? Like, it's a truth. It's truth sayer. Figure it out already.
Yeah.
Figure it out. That's got to be what
So
it
I
is.
think we need to talk about the new teaser that just came out like a couple days ago. I saw it, and like Rebecca posted it. I saw it within 5 minutes of her posting it. I'm sending it to you, and I'm like,
I was like, hold on, stop everything right now. The teaser. Sam, what is it?
You can fight it all you want, but that power streaming through her veins, there's a reason the higher-ups want her. A little brotherly advice, fall in line and find someone else to fuck. That infamous control of yours, so much as flickers in her direction. Xaden saying, I would never. And then Jack, even you don't get a say in which parts of us are taken first, Ryerson. But speaking from personal experience, control goes quickly. Just look at you. Freshly fed from the source and already down here. Desperate for a cure. You will slip, and afterward, let's just say that silver that has you so besotted will be gray like the rest of her. And those weak-ass initiate rings in your eyes won't just last a few days. They will be permanent. What? So obviously this is right after Iron Flame ends, because we know that he goes down and talks to Jack. So I think it must be picking up where it left off. We know Violet hair is half silver.
Wouldn't it be so much easier if they just made it Violet?
Like her name.
Just saying.
But no, I think that goes back to the sickness and her being drained of color. Venom drain the earth. There's something there. There is something there.
Right. And we do touch on that a little bit later. So a few months ago, there was an excerpt of Onyx Storm released in Cosmopolitan magazine. And it's a pretty long scene, actually. They're at Basgiath and they're fighting Venom there within the walls. So what they find out is it's Riddick, Sawyer's there. You can't do much because he doesn't have a leg, but you have Rhiannon and
I shouldn't laugh about
a few other people. He's got no leg. Hey, at least he's not dead. I for sure thought he was dead.
Thank God.
Thank God. They come across a cadet in scribe robes, and they're running away from what they say to be the archives because there's a kerfuffle going down. And she's like, that's not a cadet. a cadet would be running towards the archives. So she throws a dagger at him, finds out it's venom. She's like, well, no wonder they've been creeping around unnoticed. They're wearing scribe robes, going to the infirmary and like sucking on people's life forces. They find there's 4 or 5 different venom down in the dungeon trying to bail Jack out. They kill a few of them, and one of them, she is described as carrying a ruby-hilted sword, and she has a silver braid that falls out of her robe. She says her attention whips in our direction, and her eerie red gaze jumps to mine and widens slightly under a faded tattoo on her forehead. My blood chills when a smirk tilts her mouth, distorting the red veins at her temples, and then she disappears. So she has like disappearing. What is it when you can disappear and show up somewhere else? What's that called?
I want to say winnowing, but that's Akatar.
That's Akatar. I'll figure it out. I think we're too much into the books. Teleporting. That's the real term for it. So she teleports. She's like, did I just see that happen? And it's like, oh, of course you did, bitch. Obviously, there's a connection between Venom, or at least this one, Venom and silver hair, since they said, no, not the silver one. Don't attack the silver one. So there's another person that was mentioned with silver hair. And I think there's a reason why Rebecca let this come to light as a teaser. There's something there, man. There's something there. And there was a mention of when she sees Xaden and she's like, I looked him up to down to see if he was unharmed, and I saw 0 red in his eyes. And she was like, thank God. So he hasn't drawn power at this time. But there was another teaser that was listed months ago. It was before Cosmo, actually. And it was that Xaden was teaching a class so that he's trying to teach them how to be faster and defend and try to kill Venom. And he's really harping on Violet, saying, you need to try harder, you need to be faster, or whatever, because you're the only one that can kill me. I'm like, well, yes, but in what sense? Is it as just Venom, or just in general because you have lightning to kill him, or because they're connected, they're tethered? And so I'm just kind of figuring out, why wouldn't you think everyone else that you're teaching can kill you if they have a dagger? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Does he have another way of not dying? There's got to be more about Xaden. There's going to be a whole lot more. And if there's not more information revealed in this book, I'm still going to be a little annoyed, but I know there's 2 more books. So Rebecca, I know it's going to be good, but you better fucking make it good. You know what I'm saying?
I saw the video that she posted on their little Christmas holiday that they're on, and their vacation that they're on right now. And she let her niece read Onyx Storm, and she just shows this video of her niece reading it, and then she's like, no! And I was like, no, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? It's gotta be, well, it's not gonna be those 2. They have to make it to the end. I still think they're gonna kill off. Well, she did say they were endgame. I feel like they're gonna kill off Riddick. He's our, you know what I mean? He's like our comic relief. They took Liam from us. She could do it again. Who's they? She, the ominous. She could do it again. And she's ruthless. We all love them. Anyways. It could be a girl, though. Okay. Well, let's dive into the other theories with other characters and what we currently know and what we think it ties into. What we think we know. And what we think we know. Because, we know and what we think we know. What we think we know. All right. Good old Mama Sorengale. Unfortunately, R.I.P. She passed away in Iron Flame. We know that when she was pregnant with Violet, there was some sort of sickness that nearly killed her. And in Fourth Wing, she's like pale skin, pale eyes, pale hair. It's like that fever stole all of your coloring along with your strength. And I told him, your dad, not to keep you in that library. And Rebecca Yarros has said that the hair color will be addressed at some point. So obviously, we know now that in this other excerpt that came out that there's a Venom out there with a long silver braid. And so I think we're going to get a little bit more insight into
Why
this.
do they have braids? I don't understand.
Why do they have braids?
Saying.
Because they don't want to leave it down?
Why does the Venom care about braiding her hair? I guess what I also thought about is what just bear with me here. I kind of thought all Venom were just like bald, gray, red veined, ugly monsters. But maybe that's just because it's like the AI shit I've been seeing. So I just assume no one has hair and there's no gender.
Like
like a Ken doll.
Picture
They're
like
just
the
naked.
White Walkers, but instead of I picture like the White Walkers, but instead of like the ice blue eyes, they've got red eyes. Like that's what I envision when I'm reading this.
So they're still like skull like. I just assumed they're just like red. Okay, so yeah, instead of blue, maybe red, and then they just but they don't have hair, right? They're like little icicle sticks, something. But then I'm just like, I didn't think about. So when she said
those
was
were like the
a she, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think about gender. I just thought they were like Ken doll, like they're just
people.
They're just done. They're no longer people.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'm sorry. So how about you, Lilith?
Lilith. They know that she had an alloy hilted dagger in her office. So could she have gotten stabbed with that poison tipped dagger like Violet did? We don't know. It was at the sickness. But that I don't know that I'm really on board with that theory, because obviously Violet was able to get mended by Brennan, and there was no other things that had there was no other sickness. So I don't know that really has anything to do with anything.
That's fair.
So with Violet's hair being half silver, could she have already been quote unquote drained? And because of that, could that prevent her from being turned Venom? Or was she part Venom at some point?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, they moved around a lot, didn't they, when they were young? I just feel like they didn't really say every place that they went
because
to.
Her mom was a lieutenant, obviously, before being a general, and they were constantly stationed all over the place. So could she have been attacked by a Venom during her time as a lieutenant on the border, and that's what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Colonel Atos. Fucking asshole.
Ugh.
That was her closest aide.
He makes me want to drink.
Yes, I'll cheers to that. I'm gonna have to refill my glass.
Cheers. Might as well. The red is delicious. Again, I'm gonna remind everybody.
Atos, man.
If you have not had
this guy, Colonel Atos, needs to have an alloy hilted dagger shoved in his face.
Oh, I was gonna say a lobotomy, but I'm down. I'm down with that.
Or that too. Could he, having done what he did to Violet and the marked ones, could he have been the one to get Lilith sick? Because he's her aide. He's a colonel. She's a general. So obviously he's below her in rank. But they've been stationed together throughout their lives. We know that Dane and Violet grew up together. Could he have done something? Because I know on the last episode we talked about, is Colonel Atos Venom?
Dude, I think he is, man.
I think there's something there. He's obviously not like a full-on Venom, because he doesn't have like the red distending veins and like the red eyes and everything like that. But I don't know how long someone can stay an initiate. Is there like a timeline on it?
I guess we're gonna find out, because
you stay an initiate forever.
We also don't know when he is in the scene. They don't really talk about what he looks like. I don't feel like they're really up close ever, but like the closest they talked to him was when he introduced Varish in Iron Flame, and at that point, I guess I was like in the dark. That's interesting, because then they don't see him for a while, because Lilith punishes him and says, "You're gonna need to go to work at this place." Son of a bitch.
Well, we know Lilith pushed Violet into the Riders Quadrant. So after Papa Sorengale died, because Papa Sorengale was a scribe, Violet had trained her whole life to be a scribe, was going to go into the scribe quadrant. 6 months before conscription, Lilith is like, nope, you're going to go be a writer. You're not going to be a scribe. I think that was Lilith's way of protecting Violet. We know Lilith is very cold, calculating, not motherly, not warm. And to keep her alive, pushed her into the Rider's Quadrant. We know she made the deal with Xaden. And part of that deal was making sure Violet's kept alive as long as she can get across the parapet. She knew how smart her daughter is. If she went into the Scribe Quadrant, would have known eventually, like as she raises up through the ranks, what was really out there.
Yeah.
And what, or not Basgaiath, but what Navarre has been trying to hide from everybody, and knew Violet would not be able to stand for that because she's so much like her father. So
well, and mom,
pushing her into the Rider's Quadrant.
Yeah, because she's also ruthless and in charge, just like her other siblings. So yeah, she wouldn't stand for it. She doesn't just sit idly by. A Sorrengail doesn't just sit idly by.
Yeah. And then I do think it's funny. It's not funny. Reston was not funny. That was very heartbreaking. But when they come back and Colonel Atos is insinuating that they're lying, Violet's like, okay, select truths. I have to tell select truths.
Right.
We did see Griffin Riders as Colonel Atos is basically calling her a liar. You have Lilith saying, well, are you insinuating that a Sorrengail isn't truthful?
Gotcha, bitch.
Truthsayer. Violet. Foreshadowing. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Sneaky Rebecca. Sneaky.
I really like, so when I reread that, I was like, oh, I think that's where it is. I just feel it in my bones.
Also, do you remember when they were doing war games and the first part of that, they snuck into her office and stole the map?
Yeah.
There was no follow-up after that. Like, did anybody get in trouble? Did she find out? Because it says that they cut the map out of the frame to bring it
You're right.
to the presentation.
If she had a ton of guards, yeah, someone should have been fired or something. There was no repercussion there. Do you think she was like, good job, Violet, that's what you should have done, and then like just completely ignored the whole, like the fact that the whole thing happened? Because this one guy got knocked unconscious and one guy was like fell asleep at his post. Do you think what she probably knew? She probably did that on purpose.
I don't know. So we know Lilith Sorrengail has the power of storms. Like she can. Do you know Lilith Sorrengail?
Oh, the one that lives on Drury Lane?
Sorrengail.
I know Lilith Sorrengail.
Did you say the one that lives on Drury Lane?
He was married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
Tell me about Lilith Sorrengail.
You don't say. She has the ability to influence the weather.
Ooh, so she's like a weather person?
In rereading.
Rereading.
She's a weather woman?
Person?
I'm rereading Fourth Wing.
90% chance it's already raining.
Oh my God. I've not had enough to drink for this yet.
All right.
Rhiannon tastes good. When she's crossing the parapet, it was sunny. And then as she gets up there, all of a sudden, it starts raining and it's windy. Was that Mama Sorrengail?
For sure.
Did she make this little bout of weather come through? Because not only is it hard enough to cross an 18-inch wooden bridge with uneven stones,
Fred,
but then you're going to send winds and rain?
Yeah. She's nimbly bibbly.
What are you doing?
Jumping from tree to tree.
Yeah.
I think it was her anxiety.
Maybe.
Well, think about it this way. Hear me out. Have you seen Encanto, the Disney movie?
Yes.
Okay. Mirabelle's aunt can, make it rain and stuff. When she's having like anxiety, it starts to rain and, have thunderstorms and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what I think is Lilith. That is Lilith. So she's like she's fine. She's controlled, but she having anxiety. She's like, she better fucking make it. And she's like, That's what I think happened.
I don't know. She does not seem like the type that would lose her temper or would like let her emotions get out of control. Throughout the book, you see like when Violet's having a conversation with her, she'll mention like a flash of something crosses her face and immediately back to like steely, cold, stone faced bitch. So I don't.
Yeah.
Unless just like in the silence of her own office all alone having an anxiety attack because her youngest, most frail daughter is crossing the death bridge.
What I'm thinking is that she's like in like this room at one of the tall towers and can like see the parapet, and she's just like on the edge like Elsa, like watching it, and the storm's coming out. So she's like Elsa, Encanto's, I forgot her name, but instead of going through the scribe quadrant, like you said before, might as well do this, and then she'll be able to find the truth later. I just think maybe it's anxiety, because I feel like if I was a mom, that would happen to me. I don't know. I am a mom. Why did I said if I was a mom? Stupid thing to say. Cheers.
That's all right. Cheers. And give us some of that Papa Sorengale goodness.
All right. Papa Sorengale. Papa Sorengale is going to be known as just Papa. I can't do Daddy because that's Zadie. Daddy. And that'd be awkward. So we do not know his first name, but he was a high-ranking scribe. What we do know, he died at least a year before Fourth Wing took place, because it was about 5 years after Brennan died. And he said he was having chest pains almost immediately after Brennan died, and his heart failed or whatnot. But my theory is that he was murdered or commit suicide, but I think he was murdered for sure. So let me get to why I think this. I think that while he was obviously a high-ranking scribe, I think he was maybe equal to Markham, but Markham was a professor too, so maybe above or just below Markham. And that he fed information from either like some submissives that he got or just stuff from the archives in general to like Tyrandor or to Fen Ryerson. And after Fen and the others were executed by his wife, which I also feel like he knew that was unfortunately her job, along with Brennan's death, he had started having chest pains, like anxiety, panic attacks, and it was a complete shock of failing so many people and that he was going to get found out and also get his family involved, that his heart finally gave out, or he was murdered. Still think he was murdered. There's a murder, you say? So I think murder. So he hid a note in Violet's favorite books, the Fables of the Baron, and he knew about the real threats of Batten and wyverns, and I think that he was a part of the rebellion. He says that it takes a desperate generation to erase history, thus making the theory of being murdered more plausible, because he tried to keep things really secret and private. Why would he shove that in the back of her book just to pass it off as just like a regular letter instead of saying so, if he didn't think it was going to get found and there was some implications going on there? So he taught Brennan Tirish when they were younger, but with it being a dead or banned language, it makes it seem like he was a part of the rebellion, because I think he really was giving stuff back and forth to Tyrandor and, again, Fen Ryerson. I think that they were besties. I'm just saying, they probably have friendship bracelets and shit and saw Taylor Swift together. So I'm thinking he's like, your mother has never understood that while writers may be the weapons of our kingdom, it's the scribes who have the real power in the world. She's like, man, that has more truth than you realize. But remember that firsthand accounts are always more accurate. But if you have to look deeper, Violet, you have to see who is telling the story. I think that she's going to dive in deeper, because I think what we realize is the archives don't have as much stuff as what's out there, because that generation wanted to erase history. So she knows there's more. He knew there's more, and he's trying to leave little crumbs behind for her to find them. She always said to people that he's got a little cryptic in the years after Brennan died, and losing my brother, made my father even more reclusive. So that also makes me think that maybe Professor Markham, who's the scribe leader, is Venom too. Because if he was trying to hide stuff from him, I also think it's because what Sam said earlier is that Lilith was trying to keep her from going into the scribe quadrant and go into the writer's quadrant to make sure that she had a better chance. Which if she found the shit out and Markham knew, or any of the higher ups, whatever, she would be exploited, or she'd probably be killed for the shit that she found out. So I think that he was being cryptic, but also to hide from him and other people. Still think he was murdered. Anyway, so it's a murder, you say? Okay. He also did considerable research on feather tails. What we did find out, Violet claims to know where the research is, but has not told anyone or the readers. Readers do not know. I do not know. Nor has she tried to go find it yet. So I'm surprised that she didn't. Maybe she just thought it wasn't relevant. But upper management has asked her for this. Barish has asked her for this and had punished her for not producing the information. So now that she knows that Adarna is the seventh breed, I think she'll go out and try to find it when she's out researching, trying to find allies and a cure. There is information out there. And because the archives at Bezgaith and the other archives in Navarre, when Jasenia asked for information, they said, no, you have the most current, or you have the oldest tomes that we know. I think she's going to find other shit, especially because she came home from Corden with stuff from Takaris. So I think she's going to find her dad's shit and bring it up. And I don't know if she's going to share it with Xaden or how much she's going to share with him, just in case he does turn or is some type of spy person or whatever. They coerce information out of him. A spy person. And I think then, yes, she has to rely on her friends for sure. And that's why I picked Rhiannon is going to be the person to help her do it.
There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack. But I agree with you. I think he was murdered and became reclusive because I think he knew his life was coming to an end and that people were out to get him.
Do you think he told Lilith, and that's why Lilith made that choice for her
to go to the Writer's Quadrant?
Yeah,
maybe. We won't know that either because obviously Mama Sorengale's dead. But
shit.
will...
I forgot. Oh, wait. She's going to leave a journal behind. She's going to leave a journal behind. I just know
That's what I was going to say.
I just know it.
That's what I was going to say.
This fucking family of journals.
Is Violet going to go to her mom's office? Is she going to be allowed in her mom's office?
Yes.
Or how her mom had her whole room packed up at Bazgaith at the very, very beginning. Did her mom hide something in there?
Yes. I like that. Yes. Okay.
Brennan.
Tell me about Brennan.
He's not dead. Brennan is not dead. We know that. He was supposedly shot. Allegedly by Fen Ryerson with a crossbolt during the Battle of Orisha, which was that final battle in the rebellion. He supposedly died, and Naolin, which could have been his best friend, partner, we don't know the dynamics there yet, tried and failed to save him by using his siphoning power. So Naolin was a siphon and was he trying to siphon Brennan's mending power to mend him? I don't know.
I think that is very in the weeds a little bit because they said that he was trying to save him. Was he dead or was he dying? Because obviously when he said he was found, he went into the caves.
Right.
Or was Naolin just an asshole and trying to steal his power? Maybe Naolin was a bad person in the first place.
Naolin was successful in obviously fixing Brennan from death or dying. But if he was dead and he resurrected him Brennan's new last name is it Asray? Asray?
Azraya. I thought it was Azraya.
I have to listen
Azray?
to the audiobook again. These
Let's ask Rebecca.
pronunciations in here, I'm just like, oh yeah, and blah 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 went and did this. That's what happens in my head.
Meanwhile,
When I'm
Carl.
reading. So Azray means resurrection. So did Naolin actually resurrect him? Was he dead, brought back to life by Naolin?
I'm going to say yes.
Also, side note, Naolin, I don't think is dead.
I don't think so either.
He's dead. And I think during that resurrection process, he siphoned from the earth to save Brennan. I think Naolin is dead. Or not dead, is Venin.
I think so too.
Naolin is Venin.
I think so too. Okay, here's a question. Hold on. If you think that Naolin is Venin and not dead, dragons can technically sever their bond with their rider, right? If that were the case, because the Venin can draw power from somewhere else and not die. And maybe that's why he thought that was going to be his last rider or his only rider. Did he even have a rider before Naolin? But he said it was like my first and only or whatever, and you'll be my last.
I think it was first and only.
So, man, he is very emotional. He can only handle 2 people his entire life. He's 150 years old. Whatever.
He's 100.
And it's very short. Very short. So he had Naolin for maybe, who knows how Naolin lives? Maybe 10, 5 years, whatever. And now he's got Violet.
But also, side note, rabbit hole, I'm going to go down real quick.
Do it.
They talk about riders that Nolan, for example, he's like 80 and is still bonded to a dragon.
Or the
healer. He's a mender also. If he went through the rider's quadrant when he was 20, that was 60 years ago. So he's been bonded to the same dragon
he's a mender.
For 60 years.
So how the fucking old?
So does that bond end like when the
they say when your rider dies,
dies?
Well, yeah, because when your rider dies, dragons don't have to die.
Right.
Well,
there's been a couple cases in which they have.
Yes. I don't know if you're gonna say this too. Jack said they said your soul is gone or corrupted when you draw power. Does that mean your dragon has bonded your soul? Which also makes me feel like it's a total Rick and Morty situation. If you've watched that, you understand. But it's so inappropriate, and I love it. Was that where you were gonna go?
No.
Soul bonded.
What I was gonna say.
If you don't have a soul,
not a Rick and this is not a Rick and Morty.
Maybe you just don't have a connection anymore.
Sex dragons. Like I don't.
That's fair.
I don't think this is a Rick and Morty sex dragon.
He came out of his masturbation cave. Watch it.
Okay. Dragons and riders.
What were you going to say?
When someone retires, they're still bonded to that dragon.
You're saying that they retire their career? So Naolin's just like on a beach somewhere and
he's
his dragon's
still
like,
going.
oh.
But in my read of Fourth Wing, because I'm like really paying attention to every single word in that book, they talk about one of the people's dads who just recently retired that was a rider. So, okay, they can just like go off on their dragon like whenever in like retired life because they're still bonded.
Truth.
These are questions I need an answer to, Rebecca. Thank you.
Rebecca. Interesting.
Also, Brennan is bonded to an orange dragon.
Ugh. God, don't remind me.
Jack was bonded to an orange dragon. Varish was bonded to an orange dragon.
Carr.
Is there something there?
Professor Carr.
Did Carr have an orange dragon?
He wasn't that bad, but yeah.
Did he have an orange dagger tail or an orange scorpion tail, maybe?
Sure.
Maybe I just read that. Anyways, Brennan.
Yeah.
Also, Violet notes seeing a rune-shaped scar on Brennan's hand. Did this happen during his resurrection? Is this something like a rebellion relic that like hides him from General Melgren? Does this help keep him safe from venom? What is the significance of this? I want to know.
What does it mean? What does that mean?
I thought it was on his palm. Is it on the back of his hand?
She just said hand. I feel like it was on the inside. I don't know. At the very beginning of Iron Flame.
I'm still rereading Fourth Wing. I haven't gotten to Iron Flame yet prior to Onyx Storm
For the
coming
umpteenth
out.
time.
So I'm gonna have to go back and I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah,
even
I'm
tell
definitely
you how many
gonna-
times I've read these.
I'm going to run through it definitely again. We just did it before this, but I'm doing it again for sure. She wouldn't have mentioned it if it wasn't important. Importante. So let's move to Andarna. Yep, let's pour some more wine. Rhiannon's got her back. I like
Did
that
you
a
hear
lot.
me pouring mine?
I sure did. I did hear you. All right, Andarna. All right, we got a good chunk here. Are you ready? Strap on.
Strap on? Like
Strap. What's the term you're supposed to use?
strap in?
Oh,
Buckle up?
that's what I meant to
But
say.
according to Ashley, it's strap on. Strap it on, folks. Let's go.
Well, yeah, I was thinking of Taryn and his saddle.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep. Dig yourself out of that hole. Strap on.
Hey, stop talking about holes. All right. Andarna. All right. There are, that we know of, five different tails a dragon has. It is a club tail, morningstar tail, sword tail, dagger tail, scorpion tail, and then you have the infamous feather tail, the young folk. According to Rebecca, Andarna chose to have a scorpion tail after she grew into her adolescent years. And Rebecca says teenage Andarna's tail is revealed to be a poisonous barbed scorpion tail after she battles Solas in Iron Flame in the caves. We're told by Taryn that dragon tails are determined after Feathertail's childhood stages is by choice and need. So if you are Andarna, she says, and you are a Feathertail, and you watch the thing closest to you and that you love the most in the world poisoned by a dagger, would you not become the poison yourself?
I just got goosebumps.
Right? So, and you have to think, you're like, yes, that is very smart, because you think of each one. A club tail is just a club. It'll just knock you out. Morningstar has spikes all over it. A sword tail is sword tail. Dagger tail is very similar. Scorpion.
I'm sorry, what is a sword tail?
It's a sword. Scorpion is like both, either a dagger
The tail
or
of a
sword.
scorpion, I would imagine.
Yes. But it is poisonous, where poisonous barbs on it. And the other ones do not have that.
As scorpion tails are.
But that's got like a stinger. This one has barbs, poisonous barbs. Do you think a scorpion
Have
has
you been
barbs?
stung by a scorpion?
No.
I've
Why
been
would I
stung
want
by
to
a
be stung by a
scorpion.
scorpion? You have?
I live in Arizona.
You got stabbed by one and you've never told me?
Yeah, I've got stabbed like twice.
Why haven't you told me? Oh,
That's why we have
God.
cats.
Next, you're going to tell me there's like a
They're scorpion hunters.
spider that's 2 feet large, like in Afghanistan. Do not tell me about the spiders. All right. On this note, do you think Andarna and her choosing of her tail, it is poisonous, but do you think it also going to be poisonous to venom because of her breed?
Yes.
Okay. I know you've already told me this. Her fire breath, she breathes fire at the end of Iron Flame on the one that's hanging out with Wynn, the venom terrorizing Cat and Violet.
Yeah.
I think Marin's down there too, but
Marin is not there because Marin took
Marin was not
Sawyer
there.
to the healers.
that's right. You're right. So it's just Cat and Violet. And she breathes down Dragonfire for like the first time on the venom and then bites her head off, like spits it out, and it's smoking. That's why I assume it. And you have said multiple times that Dragonfire cannot kill venom, right?
Right.
You told me this.
Right.
But what if hers can? And she just bit the head off for fun because the head was smoking. I don't know.
I think the whole body was smoking. Yes.
The whole body was smoking. She had very, very good tits. All right. Seventh breed of dragon. She said she was smoking. So we find out she's the seventh breed of dragon. There hasn't been a known seventh breed yet from the people currently living in Navarre or mentioned anywhere in the archives until Violet figures it out. And again, we said this last time, if you hadn't figured it out, then you weren't worthy of knowing. And Darna waited like 600 years or so to hatch. I think it was 650. And when she did, she was about 2 years old when she heard someone like Violet, a writer with the heart of a scribe, was going through the quadrants. Sam, your face, tell me what you are thinking.
So Andarna is 2 years old at the time that Violet bonds her. When did Papa Sorengale pass away?
A year before that. 1 year.
But Papa Sorengale was the only one doing research on feathertails. Was Papa Sorengale allowed in the Vale? Was he the one that was talking about Violet?
I got goosebumps on my arms.
I have goosebumps.
Okay. No, like they just okay.
Did Andarna hear Papa Sorengale?
Was he allowed there because he wasn't a threat? He wasn't a writer, and maybe he was just a scribe collecting information. And then he had said his daughter, well, why would he know that she's going to the Vale? Well, hold on, wait. 1 year before Fourth Wing starts, he dies, but he had been doing all this research, right? So Adarna's still at least an egg for a year. But 6 months later, after he dies, is when Lilith said that she's going to the Writer's Quadrant and had her going through training. So there's a 6-month gap between that and that.
Right. So Andarna was born a year before Papa Sorengale died.
Okay. I like this. I like where this is going.
There's something there.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good job.
I need more wine.
Do you need more wine? Like, are you out?
No.
Good job. I like that. Okay. Now, that brings us to Andarna's family, right? So we assume that they've all died or don't exist before she hatched. And she had said that she goes, maybe I'll be the leader of my den. We don't really understand that at the time because she was still a Feathertail, or was she already an adolescent? She was an adolescent when she said that.
She was a Feathertail.
She was still
that was in Fourth Wing still.
Okay.
Yeah, and she
said... And Taryn just chuffs at her. Chuffing. I love chuffing.
Was that flame?
And that was foreshadowing because now we know she is, unless there's another one out there, she is the leader of her own den. Got my just a little jar necklace here. Mm-hmm. All right. So the cure to venenism. Is she the cure to venenism with her dragon breed? Is that why we haven't seen venin in 600 years? Or another note of that, Zayden mentions that dragon eggshells are one of the ingredients to make the venin-killing alloy daggers. Which dragons is he implicating? Like, is it any of them? Is it? I keep thinking maybe it's Andarna's because I still feel like she's here for a reason and that she is part of it. But dragons don't listen to humans. They're not allowed in the Vale. But do dragons allow humans to the Vale or other breeding grounds, like the one by Eratia, to collect them or bring them to help the cause? And what you had just had a revelation while airing about Papa Sorengale going to the Vale, collecting research, and talking about Violet. Maybe he's the one that was doing this because he was on that side of the cause. Maybe he was allowed to do that and collect these things for the rebellion and people like Mama Sorengale, because we don't know if anyone else at Bedskythe or in Navarre had the same daggers. Maybe he made one for his wife and had them to protect themselves because they knew the real truth where no one else did. So now I'm thinking that is the thing. that's what Papa Sorrengail was doing.
But I don't think Papa
allowed in Navarre.
Sorrengail made the daggers. So
No, he did
they
not.
need the alloy for the because the alloy
The forge.
the alloy that's in the daggers is what holds the magic that kills the venom. And the dragon egg shells are infused into that smelted into that alloy.
Smelted.
And that's what helps smelted. And that's what
Smelted.
helps power the wards.
Right.
Extends the wards out.
Right. Well, because they have a forge there. They said that Besguy has a forge there, and that's when they would smuggle out the daggers. I think he was a part of it, for sure. Which also begs the question, if he died a year before and Xaden was there, do you think he ever conversed with Xaden to get information to Fen? And maybe they had a relationship, and that's a big secret? The big secret we're talking about?
No, wait, no.
Xaden and Papa Sorrengail know each other, and we're talking?
Yeah. My God.
Because if the kids left with, there's no way, if he was a higher up scribe and was there, he wouldn't have been traveling to these other outposts with Lilith and the kids. He had to have been there by himself while they were traveling and doing his secret shit.
No, he wasn't stationed at the archives. He was working at those remote archives.
Oh, he was?
Where they were stationed.
Okay, so he could get information out quick, though, is what I'm saying. But maybe he had already met up and teamed up with Fen and Xaden and has talked to Xaden about Violet and things that Xaden might know.
6 years ago.
Correct. 6.5.
And Xaden's been at Basgiath for 3. So he would have been a first year while Papa Sorrengail was alive.
Right. And I think they were already there.
But don't you think Xaden at this point would have said something to Violet about knowing her dad?
Do you know how fucking secretive he is?
I know, but I feel like we got past that.
No, we did not.
But it is going to get worse in Onyx Storm.
And he got really pissed about what's your second signet? Are you kidding me? You dumb fucking bitch. I'm just saying.
Ugh. Boy.
Okay, so Papa, I think he was able to go to the Vale. Well, there was one quote that Andarna says to Violet, which is, "It's hard to love your second home as much as your first." And that was in Fourth Wing when Violet has archives duty. And that's the one, I think she chose that because that's where she feels more comfortable. And she says that in her head. And it's like, she totally gets it. Is it because Andarna is also from somewhere else than the Vale? So that wasn't her original home. That's not where her original den was from. It's not where her parents are from. But that happens to be where her egg got transferred, if you will. Or is the seventh breed still out there somewhere that we don't know, and she doesn't know that? Or there are others like her that are still hatchlings? Or is she, I'm thinking maybe Isle Kingdoms or something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. But
we don't know. We're theorizing.
You just said something that made me think. We don't know if Andarna's egg has been in the Vale for the last 650 years. And we know that her parents passed.
Do we know
when
they
did
passed?
They bring?
For sure.
Yeah, they said that her parents passed a while ago.
Okay.
Were they from?
Do we just have one egg and they're done? We don't know anything
about the Isle. I don't know.
Like chickens?
We know that trade has been cut off because of the threat on the continent.
But they're also supposed to be an ally.
Right.
Of Navarre.
But up until recently, they said that they had trade with them. Because Takaris, because that's where they got that the fancy silk.
Oh, that's right. What is it called? What's the fancy silk called? I have it in my book over back here. That fancy silk. What's that called?
Fancy silk.
Is there a name for it?
Yeah, there's a name of.
How would spell the whole fucking thing? Silk Takaris.
Devarian silk? Devarian. Devarellian silk.
Devarelli. So they
had trade agreements with the Isle Kingdoms where they got this Devarelli silk from. And Takara said that had recently ended because of the ongoing threat
Oh.
within Navarre and
But
Paromial.
Devarelli is from one of the Isle Kingdoms? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
But we like we know very, very little about the Isle Kingdoms.
How many are there?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Nope.
Speaking of Corden.
Speaking of Corden, Cat. We know that Fen Ryerson had given to Karis the Rybstad chest as a betrothal gift between Xaden and Catriona Cordella. And him bringing the Venom out on the field in the Rybstad chest was kind of like a dig at Xaden. But also, where are Kat and Serena's parents? Did they die?
Are your parents?
Where are your parents? Because that's their uncle. And
Where
so
are your parents? You're gonna leave the house looking like that?
Serena's second in line. Serena is second in line to the throne. Kat's third in line to the throne. To their uncle.
To their uncle. Oh, he didn't have kids then.
But where are their parents?
It's kind of sad, but also funny. Where are your parents? But also, are they dead?
Jeff Goldblum, who Ashley believes should play Viscount Takaris.
Viscount?
Or as Ashley likes to call it, Viscount.
Have you not seen Phantom of the Opera? I said Les Mis last time. Phantom of the Opera? Viscount?
Have you not seen Bridgerton?
So Viscount is not correct?
Okay. So Griffin flyers were sent to Orisha to train with the riders in preparation for this upcoming battle, war, whatever you want to call
Royale.
it, impending doom that is happening. Can Griffin riders turn Venom? Are all of the Venom that are coming over, like, are those like Paromish citizens that turn Venom? Are they Griffin riders that turn Venom? Who are all these like hordes of Venom that end up coming to Basgiath? Like, who are these people and where did they come from?
These people? Who the fuck are you? Why? Where? How?
Right.
Who? What? Where? Why? As you asked previously, I think last time, do they eat food?
We don't know.
Do they have farms? Do they have jobs like everyone else? You think you got a Venom like farmer, like, oh, fuck these sheep, you know what I mean? Like scooping pig shit and stuff. What? I get it. It's just like,
are
the
they
walkers.
Farming Venom?
Maybe they don't eat at all.
Farm?
It's a Venom farm. Are they like walkers? They don't require anything. They're just dead. No, they're soulless, but they still have to. No, hold on. But we also know Venom can die, apparently, or get, if you have an orange allergy, you can get sent to the infirmary. So obviously they have other weaknesses, but it wouldn't kill them. But would it have?
Allergy.
But he was just an initiate at that time. Would it have killed him?
And that Venom that was in the Rybstad chest for 3 weeks hadn't fed on magic. But also I would assume that they didn't open the door and was like, here's a sandwich.
Here, you need some water? Here's a sandwich. You need a little gerbil water?
You want some crackers? Here's a banana.
You're right. Yeah, maybe. Well, okay. Here's another question.
So maybe once they get to like the ASIM or the Sage general position, they no longer need food to nourish themselves?
I would assume everyone needs water. The blood of my enemies. But seriously, though, they have Jack in a dungeon. Do you think they just serve him a tray of food? Does he pretend to eat? Obviously ate something when he was an initiate. Because the oranges.
He did not eat the oranges. Violet shoved the vial of... Right, because he was like, get that shit away from me. It's noxious.
Here's another question. She broke his tooth. Was his tooth repaired? Even though he was Venom, did they mend his tooth?
Does it magically grow back?
Well, they mended him. So they mended his tooth. And how does that work with Venom? So you can mend Venom then? Obviously, they said it's hard to mending a soul. But obviously you can mend their body as well.
But Venom don't have souls?
If you draw too much power, you do not have a soul. That's why initiates aren't
because
total
that's
venom.
nature likes things in balance, right? So like
That's what
you're giving up your soul for magic.
So if he draws again, I think he'll lose his soul. So she was relieved to see him when he didn't have
Jack
red in
or
his
Xaden?
eyes. Xaden. Real quick, the theory of maybe Violet and Dane becoming enemies to lovers might spend a lot of time together trying to save Xaden. I don't like that. Shut it down right now. But
shut it down.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
But
I've seen a lot of theories. They would be. I've seen a lot of theories, though, of people being like, oh, is Dane and Violet the real enemies to lover story? Blah, 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 blah.
Right,
but Rebecca Yarros did say that Xaden and Violet were endgame.
Endgame venom, you know what I'm saying? I think they're going to die like Romeo and Juliet. Dead. Dead. I saw that last time. Okay, so that's enough of Cat. Cat can fuck off. Well, okay, here's another question on Cat. Are the Griffin Riders going to be able to stay in Basgiath? Because that's where they raise the wards. They can't do their magic there. Are they going to leave and go back to Corden? Or I assume Erasure because the wards aren't working there. And Violet's going to go back and forth talking to both of them.
In that blurb, the excerpt, it says Violet has to wander from outside of the failing Orishan wards.
I agree.
So they start out at Basgiath. I think
and she has to leave
Orisha.
Xaden.
But also, how does that work, though? Because, like, the mated pairs, like Taryn and Sigale, can't be apart for any...
How does that work? Or... You're right. But they've gone more than a week before anyway. But you're right. Maybe he flies her to Orisha and then flies back to Sigale. And then comes back for her.
Or Sigale just goes with him because Sigale's like, I'm pissed at you, Xaden. Like, F you.
She fucks off.
I'm leaving you. I'm going to go fly with them. Yeah.
That's why I also think it is Onyx Storm because I think it's the wrath of Tarn.
No.
So, Sigale's name in Gaelic means shadow. Scottish Gaelic, which is what many of the other names are represented in. Rebecca, you're so clever. You're so clever.
Mm-hmm.
Means shadow, of course, Xaden's. But is she just a shadow of herself while Xaden's venom? I think Taryn is going to be the reckoning in this one. I've also heard a lot of people give their theories about how they think Taryn's going to die in this book. I'm not against it.
No.
I mean, I'm against it, but I'm not against the theory.
I'm against that theory. No.
Oh, for sure. But Rebecca's going to give us heartbreak.
But wait though, because if Taryn dies, that means Sigale dies, which means Xaden dies.
No. He, as Venom, can separate from Sigale. And if Sigale dies, it won't hurt him.
Oh my God.
But Violet can live because she has Andarna.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's what I think.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sitting here clapping my pen together, like, nervously. Yeah.
No.
I don't.
No.
So she has said multiple times and in multiple instances, if Dragon dies, so does their writer. She has 2, and they don't know of anyone having 2 before. If that does happen, she has Andarna, and I think that's what would keep her alive. She has half silver hair and half dead cells anyway. So Taryn maybe have already have had an instance with a writer who's had hair like Naelin. You remember the time when Tyrion's like, I know who and what you are, Violet Swan Girl?
I still think in my brain that possibly Violet is somehow the descendant of the long ago king, like prior to unification.
For sure,
of
a lot
Navarre.
of people are. Yeah. Okay.
Because there's several references. She's sitting on Tyrandor's throne. Xaden's on his knees before her.
Butt ass naked, deep in her vagina.
But now, not just the throne scene. I'm talking about other
okay. I'm
scenes,
sorry.
like when he's helping her with her boots. He's kneeling before her. There's a couple references to him kneeling before her. Taryn bows down with his leg.
That's not the only time, too, because he kneels down to put on her boots after he just rescues her when Orin tries to kill, and Orin and his Goonies try to kill her. She's like, seeing someone like him kneeling before me, putting on my boots, is like,
yeah,
I think we're on something here. Okay.
And the way that, like,
royalty.
Do you remember how Taryn was super upset with Varys and is like, you apologize to her now? Was like super aggressive with it.
I'm going to clamp on your neck. Yeah. Okay. Here's another one. If we're just spouting these out, Lila Sorngale goes, Sorngale is never carried. She has to walk or fly off the field.
What does that have to do with it?
What does that have to do with it? You know, because if you're royalty, you're never carried off the field. You either walk or you fly off, like, because you're a symbol of status.
My mind wasn't putting those things together.
And Sorngale's never truthful. What? Sorngale's always truthful.
I know who and what you are. But is that also because she could be the venom killer?
That's true.
She is the weapon. She is the venom weapon.
She's gonna be the weapon. Ooh, I like that. I like that theory.
Let's talk. Okay, I think we got to talk about Xaden's mom, because I think Xaden's mom is going to make an appearance, if not in Onyx Storm, then in 4 or 5, but possibly in Onyx Storm if Violet is venturing out to try to find allies. Is Xaden's mom in the Isle Kingdoms?
She's somewhere,
because she was part of this arranged marriage where she had to stay around until Xaden was 10 years old. After that, she was able to leave, and she, deuces, y'all, I'm out. So did she go back to where she's from?
Which is where?
AKA the Isle Kingdoms.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a blanket that he keeps of hers. I don't know if it's his baby blanket or what, in his wardrobe at Ryerson House. Will there be something on that blanket that gives us an idea of where Xaden's mom is from?
I like that theory.
And then there are some mentions like about how similar Bodhi and Xaden look.
And that's how I definitely think she mentioned it a few times, and especially when they have their flight jackets. Like, who fuck's flight jacket do you have on? Who do you fucking think? Like, it's just, man, maybe they have the same mom, maybe the same dad. I get it.
So like half-brothers? You think possibly half-brothers, not cousins?
I think so. And maybe there's another one, because think about this. Xaden's dad, Fen, his sister had Bodhi. But I thought that would be incestuous. Unless that was what it was supposed to be, but she couldn't have kids. So Mama Ryerson came in and was like, I'm gonna go ahead and give you that baby. And then she fucked off. I'm gonna give you that baby. She fucked off because she had an obligation. Who knows where she was from before that and did otherwise and had a kid. So she could have a third kid somewhere else or more. What if there's 3?
I don't know.
And right now, Sam, there is one Venin Ryerson. There's one Ryder Ryerson. What if there's a Flyer Ryerson out there? Ryerson out there. I'm just saying.
I think we would have known if there was a Ryder Ryerson.
There's 3 more books.
I know. There are 3 books that...
So no, we would not. We wouldn't. I like that better. Okay.
But no, this is you. Because like now going into the 3s, the 3 brothers, does this tie in anywhere else to these stories? Because we know the story of the 3 brothers initially.
It's an important story. And we need to figure out what 3 brothers. Is it in the past? Is it in the future? because we also have all the information about Justinia transcribing everything. So we need to get back to that.
But the venom came from one of the first 3 brothers, because you had one that bonded a dragon, one that bonded a griffin, one that was jealous and drew directly from the source, turned venom because he wanted power, and hence, therefore, here within, venom were born.
Then here for within, where out, with about. I still think that is a good contender for the 3 because I feel like it ties back in. Like that started this whole thing, and 3 of them will also end it. I think it's going to be a whole circle. And I think Xaden's mom is part of it. I think it's 3 Ryerson children. Or is it 3 Sorengale children? Or is it the 3 Tory siblings? The 3
But one's already dead.
King siblings, but one was already dead. Oh, that we know of, for sure, right? Because
Xaden killed him.
Is he dead? Maybe he was venom. Maybe he was venom. He's not actually dead. And maybe he's the one that's a general or whatever. Maybe he's a venom and he's like, he'll turn, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. But we know one that's a writer, and that's Cam / Arik. We don't know of the other one. Man, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just going to do a quick touch on marked ones. Imogen Signet is erasing recent memories. In an interview that Rebecca Yarros did, she was asked about Imogen erasing Beth's memories. Like, that was a question. Her response was, I wouldn't say yes, but it's a possibility. But did she erase any of Violet's memories? And since she didn't come out and say no, what has been erased from her memory, and how can she get those back? What was erased, Rebecca? But also, could Imogen have 2 signets? Because we know that she can erase recent memories. During her first sparring match with Violet, Dane shouts out, "You can't use your powers in here, Imogen." And it's disturbing she was at that certain level at that time. But I guess she was a second year, though. But she also said later in Iron Flame, when they were in the archives trying to steal some shit, doing some shady shit, that she said she was really, really fast. And when she was running with Violet, she never broke a sweat. So I'm wondering if maybe she's just a really fast person as her second signet, and maybe some of the other marked ones have a second signet. We definitely know Xaden does, just because Sigale bonded his grandfather.
The direct familial line.
Right. Garrick, Bodhi, I'm just saying, Liam.
So did that rebellion relic inadvertently give them some sort of extra power?
I think so, because you're already burned by the dragons. And I think, you know what? I think the dragons knew this was wrong to do what they're doing, because they knew, the Empyrean knew. The Empyrean are the dragons. They knew what was happening, whether they wanted to engage in the Battle of Venin or not. They knew this was wrong. And maybe that was their gift to them, besides being able to not be seen by General Melgran by being assembled in 3 or more, is because I think they gave them an extra gift. And they each have an extra signet, and they're not all present right now or have not been revealed to us. So Xaden has 2, but maybe he has a 3rd. You know what I'm saying? So what would the
maybe
third
he's
one
just
be?
Also really fast because you
I
think
it's
about
control. I think it's control.
He's just got super control, but he could also have super speed, because when Violet was getting attacked in her room in her sleep, he shows up and Bodhi was like, "Damn, how did you get here so fast?"
Well, why was Bodhi there?
Because they were coming back, I think, from.
I think they were. No, they all just came back from Athens, so they all were already dressed.
Right, but they would have been coming back.
Could be one.
Bodhi, Garrick, and Xaden were all coming back together, and then Xaden takes off and gets to Violet's door before they show up. because they're there as soon as like he kills them all to clean up all the bodies.
Dude, I'd be running too. Are you kidding me?
But also like Bodhi and Garrett. Also, we don't know what Garrett's signet is yet either, do we? We don't. He's still unknown. He's still a TBD.
Strong, smart. It's very quiet. Interesting. Brooding as well. I don't know. Okay. We don't know Garrett's.
No. But I can jump on this train of having possibly 2 signets for all marked ones, whether it be like a regular signet
It has to be. It has to be. You already have a relic marked by a dragon, and I think the dragons agreed to what they don't do what humans want them to do. I think that's what they did, and that's a gift to them. And actually, I think he already knew that because he goes, "What I have is a gift," but that's not in that sense. I think he said it was a gift because they're signets and not because it's a gift that Melgren can't see them. He doesn't give a shit about that. I think he says it's a gift because it is a gift to all of them. I think Xaden already knows that. Or it had already known that in Fourth Wing, for sure.
Interesting. Okay. I know we already talked about the archives. The archives at Basgiath are the oldest and has the biggest selection of tomes in history. And we believe Papa Sorengale's research is somewhere in the archives, according to Violet's thoughts.
Maybe.
When they go in to steal Warwick's and Lyra's journals, they have to go into King Tori's private archives area. And while they're looking for these journals, they go in and they're seeing like notes from the earliest generals and from battles and stuff like that. Are they older than 600 years old? Like, are they from the Great War? Do they have information in there from before the Great War? Like, is he keeping information that's like 1,000 years old in there?
Maybe.
Is Violet going to be able to start accessing that information again? Like, I kind of wonder. I know like scribes are the only ones that are allowed in the archives past a certain point.
But at
is
this
she
point,
going to be allowed in there now that all of this is exposed?
Shit is going down.
Going to be allowed?
I think so.
You think so?
I don't see why not. Well, I think Jasenia is going to be the head of.
She's only a first year.
Everything. Well, no, they're all second years now.
Yes,
right. I think some shit's going to come to light with Markham. I think they're going to have a battle with that guy and like dominance and stuff and maybe find out some shit about him. I don't think he's 100% good. Just saying.
Oh, I don't know.
Because then they have to go around him and King Tori to get there. But how are they going to explain all this shit to King Tori when a bunch of people died to...
Well, does King Tori know that Venom exists?
Well, I'm sure he does. And he's part of the lie to keep things
That's true. He's part
under
of the
wraps.
Lie. Okay. Yes. I don't know.
But a lot of the generals died during this battle. Like, this occurred. They can't keep this battle a secret, right? At Basgiath. Shit's got to have gotten out.
Well, they're very good at suppressing information. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
That's true.
Like, are they going to be allowed to continue the lie, or is everything going to be exposed?
Well, now that they've been... That's a good question.
So we know that Violet centers herself in information and facts in history. She spent some time in the library at Orisha when they were translating the journals for the Wardstones. But I don't think it talked to, like, if she spent any time, like, looking at the tomes that were there and researching any of that history. So will she do that? Will she get any information from Takaris? Are we going to see Takaris and Onyx Storm? Wherever she travels outside to Isle Kingdoms, other parts of Paromial, does she go to the Barrens? We don't know.
Go to the Barrens?
The Barrens? But I would imagine all of these places also have history books.
Well, there's got to be information out there elsewhere. Like, they try to button it down and get what they can out of circulation so that people didn't believe. But there's stuff hidden. Obviously, in the last one, Violet got some tomes from Takaris that's straight from Corden that had older information that she was learning that was also trying to help her raise the wards and just other history. So we know there's other stuff out there, and I think she's going to find it or find someone that knows something.
Well, I think he gave her books and journals on everything that they knew about the Venom.
Right.
But I don't know but they gave it to Brennan.
Right. Not the stuff that she needs to know. So I think she's going to go back there and talk with, what's his dumb fuck again?
Jeff Goldblum.
Fucking Jeff. She's going to go talk to Jeff Goldblum again. He's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to stay for dinner, we're going to have a lavish lamb and put on a dress and we're going to make the most of it. And then she's going to steal some shit from him and then leave. I think that's what's going to happen. I think she's going to find something out there and let the case wide open. And people are going to be like, what? You're not real at all. You're the wizard.
Oh my God. That got escalated quickly. So throughout Iron Flame, the dreams are all from Violet's point of view.
Except for the POV chapter.
Right, except for the end, the Xaden POV chapter. Mm-hmm. Throughout Iron Flame, the scene changes. The robe color changes.
The robe
color changes.
You have red, blue, purple.
Right. So is this one person that has started off as an initiate that has graduated to an ASIM and is now a sage? Is that what the different color robes mean? Is it... Wait. Is it Naolin? Because Naolin was bonded to Tarn. What if that bond was not fully severed? Because he's not dead, he's Venom. And because Sigale and Tarn are mates, Violet and Xaden, they all have a happy mind loop going on. Is that Naolin invading their dreams through that mind connection?
Old bond, yeah. That's a very good question. I feel like she said no, Naolin's dead. It's like, well, is he dead to Tarn?
No one has ever said that he is dead.
No one in the book has said he was dead. You're right. Tarn they said that he died at trying to revive Brennan.
Kaori said that. Professor Kaori is the only one that said that, because Tarn is like, we do not talk about
the one that came before. So, okay, so if he was Venom,
Brennan said he sacrificed everything to save me.
And he did, just like Xaden sacrificed everything to try and save Violet. Okay, if that were the case, Naolin would be Venom, and then what would be true about these dreams would be that you would turn for love. The Naolin loved Brennan.
I think so. I think so too. I think they were partners.
I think they were partners too. Oh yeah. Well, got many holes. I mean, some people do. So yeah, I think they would have. I think you're right. I feel the same way. But if we're just completely dumb and she's like, no, that's not true, he's dead, it's someone completely different, then we'd be like, well, we're just idiots. I think a lot of us want that to be true. I think that's a good theory.
I don't think he's dead. I think he's Venom. Rebecca does not do anything on accident in her book.
And she repeats things.
Things are put in there. Yeah, like you said, repeat. There's multiple times where things are in okay.
She repeats things.
Except for the whole truth sayer thing, Rebecca, that did not work in Iron Flame.
No, she gave us lots of it. It's just that we didn't want to see it because we wanted something more spectacular. And it was like, it's fucking truth, which is probably essential to the story. And we will see that. That's why Xaden's like, I'm really good at lying, but I haven't figured it out with Violet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what she needs in order to figure things out to save the world. this one continent they all live on, because I'm assuming the rest of it is just water.
Well, the Isle Kingdoms are somewhere. Like,
they're down there. They're sprinkled in.
We don't see them on the map. We don't know where they're at.
Are you sure?
We know that there was a weapon that killed off the Venin 650 years ago. Or 600 years ago.
Yes. Thank you for
years
bringing
ago.
that up. Yes.
600 years ago, there was a weapon that killed off the Venin. General Daramore was part of that Venin thing. He's now gone, we assume, because they said that they were all vanquished, gone, bye-bye. When did they come back? Number one. When did Venin come back?
Or were they ever gone?
2, or were they ever gone? That's all I have.
What was the weapon that killed them? Brennan said
weapon?
There was a weapon, and they're actively searching for it. So, but in the search of the weapon that killed them to begin with, I'm assuming it's going to be like some weird bomb.
No, I think it has something to do with Andarna.
It's magic. Magic
It's
bomb.
Andarna. Andarna has waited 650 years to hatch. We don't know when her parents passed. So could her parents have been...
Or if they had... Yeah.
That weapon. And they died.
That's so sad.
They died because that's what they had to do to kill the Venin. And Andarna's going to die.
Yep. Okay. Andarna's got to do the thing. And she's got to implode. And then Violet and Xaden are both going to die together, like Romeo and Juliet. They're all sacrificing themselves in order to die.
Yeah. I think everybody dies.
Well,
I think everybody dies.
Calm down.
I think everyone I think almost everyone dies.
No. Oh, Jasenia will not.
If you read the chapter headers
in
these books, the very first page of Fourth Wing says, following text has been faithfully transcribed from Navarian into the modern language by Jasenia Millwort, curator of the Scribe Quadrant at Basgiath War College. All events are true and names have been preserved. Honor the courage of those fallen. May their souls be commended to Malik. They all die. The end.
So these are not all of the excerpts for sure. There's a few that have been thrown out that I remember. So one says, nothing kills powerful, unshakable love faster than opposing ideologies. And this is from the Journal of Warwick of Lucerys, translated by Violet and Dane. Let me just go to another one. It says, I am alone in thinking the knowledge of the wards, the protections they provide, should not solely benefit Navarre, and it has cost me everything. And that's from Lyra. Was she and Warwick lovers? Could Warwick have turned Venin? I think he could be the general, is what I'm saying. Could this be Violet and Xaden's fate? Here's another excerpt. It was never a continent from the very beginning. It was theirs, and we were simply allowed to live here, which is from Warwick's journal.
Meaning the dragons, right?
Right.
They came.
Yes.
This was the dragon's land.
They were here.
Wait.
They were here. You think the humans are from a different continent?
Yes. And then they're going to have to leave.
No, they brought the shit with them. I think it was dragons and people. Some people came over, and then some people realized there's magic here, and then like started bonding shit, and someone drew from the earth, and then became a problem.
Right. What if they kick all the people off the continent?
I'm just saying,
give it back.
This does not look like the whole earth. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know, but what I'm saying is, what if the griffins and the dragons, in order, they kick them, the people,
just kick them out.
They kick them all out.
Okay. So here's another one. At its core, magic demands balance. Whatever you take will be recouped, and is not the wielder who determines the price. This is the book. It's not called the book of, but it's Magic, Universal Study for Writers. Hogwarts, a History. by Colonel Esmeen Ruthhorn. So it's like they obviously need to balance. Whatever you take will be recouped, and it's not the wielder who determines the price. So whatever you take, I'm assuming it's the magic. She needs to go find alloys, power, and magic is Onyx Storm. We have barely touched on actual magic because we've touched on power from dragons, unless that's what they're referring to as magic, but they never talk about it like that. It's power. And allies, magic has to be something else. I think there's some other magic out there that they're going to come across that will help them. Is
there like a Hogwarts
weapon? I assume bad guy was the Hogwarts, but great. Oh, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there's something else out there. She said magic. They said magic. Magic.
Yeah.
A universal study for writers, but at its core, magic demands balance. Wherever you take will be recouped and is not up to the wielder who determines the price. Is the magic you're taking from the ground, or is there another source of magic we don't know about? But the fact that she said in the Onyx Storm, blurb says she needs to find power and magic. What does that refer to? There's got to be more out there that we don't know about that she has not revealed. There's another source of magic that has to be there.
Agreed. And going back to the power part, I think Violet's signet is lightning, but is also pure power. And I think we will start to see her signet start to take a little bit more shape. Yes, I think she'll be able to wield lightning.
Without
an orb. I think she will be able to wield that in different manners.
I agree. So like energy, like she can wield energy. I mean, lightning is power in some sort. Yeah. There are many more excerpts, but these are the ones that really stood out to me as of late. Mm-hmm. But what I think is everyone's gonna die.
Everyone's gonna die.
At the end of this.
I think it's going to be very emotional.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be
okay with it. I'm here for the ride.
Very, very emotional. Well, that's a wrap on this stormy episode of Pages and Poor Decisions. We've theorized, overanalyzed, and probably read way too much into Rebecca Yarros' breadcrumbs, but maybe not. But hey, that's what we're here for. Join us next time as we recover from what is bound to be a very, very emotional roller coaster of Onyx Storm.
It's definitely going to be a wild ride. We're excited. I hope you're excited. We will try to get it up just as soon as possible. Get yourself some Rhiannon, and next time we will have a very awesome storm with coming wine to pair well with Onyx Storm. So cheers. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, folks.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for Onyx Storm.